Hey y'all, so this vlog is coming at you from Virginia because it's the holidays, so I'm home. In the spirit of being grateful, we're just gonna continue on with our Jealous Scully theme because today's episode is SYZYGY. Had to look up how to pronounce that one. So this episode comes from like a time period of Mulder and Scully sort of tension that's happening in season 3. The previous week we had the whole Bambi situation, and this week we're gonna have a whole new lady situation. Detective White.
You don't suppose she's a virgin, do you?
AKA Blondie.
I doubt she's even a blonde.
So this episode starts and we see Ryan Reynolds. He sure doesn't look like the Ryan Reynolds we know and love today, but it is Ryan Reynolds nonetheless. He's teary-eyed, he's giving a eulogy for one of his friends that has clearly passed away. And after the eulogy, he's like at his car, he's crying, he's clearly having a hard time with this. And these two girls approach him. He offers to give them a ride, and while they're in the car, they start talking about this like satanic cult that seems to be like responsible for the deaths going on in this town. And they're all worried that there's gonna be a blonde virgin sacrificed soon. Both these bitches are blonde and apparently virgin. So they creep up on Ryan Reynolds and they're like, maybe if we weren't virgins, we'd feel better about this. Cut to all of these cops finding Ryan Reynolds dead and hanging over some quarry with these two bitches like chilling at the top, picking petals off of flowers and being weird as hell. So Mulder and Scully are on their way to Ryan Reynolds, aka Boom's funeral, and they're arguing over like which direction the car should go.
At the intersection?
At the stoplight.
This isn't a stoplight, it's a stop sign.
Well, I'm sure she meant stop sign.
I turn right.
So like right off the bat, we see that Mulder and Scully are tense. They come up to the funeral and Blondie comes on over and she's talking to them about how there's this satanic cult in the area and the whole town believes in it. Everybody's like really freaked out. Scully just is not having any of it.
So you have nothing concrete to connect these things to Satanists?
If you detect a hint of skepticism or incredulity in Agent Scully's voice, it's because of the overwhelming evidence gathered by the FBI debunking virtually all claims of ritual abuse by satanic cults.
Is that true?
Don't ask me.
Like Scully's face is just next level. Her bitchy attitude in this episode, I live for. So then this crazy guy like busts up into the funeral, starts screaming about Satan and how like, you know, devil's taken over, all of these things. And the two creepy girls literally just like sit there holding hands and like staring really intently. And all of a sudden the coffin lights on fire. Like there is like a lot of flames and fire happening in this funeral home. So because these two creepy girls were with Boom on the night that he died, Mulder takes one and Scully takes the other, and they both like corroborate each other's stories about how like Boom drove them into the forest and there were all these people there in robes like engaging in some sort of satanic ritual where they kill babies. And Scully's face the whole time, she's just like, sure, keep talking, yeah, cool. Her eyes look so blue though, so it's okay. After the interview, even though their stories are identical, Scully's just like, all of this Satan shit is like absolutely not real. It's all super cliche, like studies have shown, blah, 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 blah. And Blondie and Mulder are just like, well then how do you explain the coffin catching on fire, huh? How do you explain that? So they go and check out the body and Scully's just like, sometimes embalming fluid has a chemical reaction and you know, fire, that's a thing. She's like, I don't see anything here to think otherwise. And then Blondie's like, doesn't that look like something? And Mulder's like,
some kind of horned beast.
A horned beast?
Yeah, right here.
like, I don't know why, but everything in this episode is just gold. And so Mulder's like pissed about Scully's like pessimistic attitude because she's like, it doesn't look like anything to me, like, eh.
I think you guys are seeing something that isn't there.
No, right here. Look, you see the horns are right there.
No, I don't see the horns right there.
God, I love this episode.
If it's not too big a deal, maybe you can get me a few photographs of that thing which bears absolutely no resemblance to a horned beast.
Sure, fine. Whatever.
Iconic. Dana Scully, pissed as hell, is iconic. Mulder goes over to Blondie's house and apologizes for Scully's rude behavior. And then he says that she's rigid in a really wonderful way.
She tends to be rather rigid, but rigid in a wonderful way.
what's going on? So Mulder and Blondie go and visit this astrologist who's like, I don't know, the town astrologist, and she basically is like, listen, the planetary alignment right now is fucked, like it's a whole thing. Then Terry and Margie, the two creepy girls, are sitting watching like this guy's basketball game, and one of the kids comes over and like spills lemonade all over them, and then 3 seconds later he's dead because he goes to chase the ball behind the bleachers and they stare at it weird, and all of a sudden the bleachers start closing in and they like smush him real good. This is horrifying. How are these girls doing this? So then Mulder and Scully roll up to the crime scene, and Scully confronts Mulder about the fact that he wasn't in his hotel room.
You weren't in your motel room.
I went to follow up a lead with Detective White.
I see.
You see what?
Look, we've been working together for what, 2 years now? We have differing opinions, but I didn't expect you to ditch me.
I didn't ditch you.
Fine, whatever.
I just think that their arguing is hot and I'm into it. Sue me. Then we find out that apparently there's like a mob that is gathered on the edge of town. They're all trying to find this mass baby grave. Scully's like, listen, this is just like rumor panic. It's just all feeding into each other. It's like a bunch of bullshit. Like everybody needs to calm down. Her hair here deserves a special shout out because it just looks so fluffy and beautiful and nice. But then apparently somebody finds bones, and so Mulder and Scully like go over to check out the bones.
Come on, Lester, just go home.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, be my guest. I know how much you like snapping on the latex.
Just another iconic scene. Like literally in this scene, there are jokes about snapping on latex. There is the Mulder and Scully tension. Scully looks beautiful, and there's the glove snap. Like, what more could you want from a scene? So there are some initials on this bag of bones that they link to the town pediatrician. They bring in the town pediatrician, and it turns out that, you know, the bag of bones is just a dog, and he's got nothing to do with it. So Scully's like, you can leave, everything's fine. In the middle of that scene, Mulder just like randomly asks like if somebody's wearing his favorite perfume. Like, Mulder, do you even actually know what perfume is, let alone have a favorite? And sounds sketchy, but okay.
May not be any time to mention it, but someone is wearing my favorite perfume.
Can I have a word with you?
This has gone on far enough.
What?
I am not going to be humiliated by you in front of you or by having to bring a teenage girl in on her birthday of all days to identify the bones of her dead dog, Mr. Tippy. I see no reason to pursue this case any further, and not only that, I find your conduct and comportment in this investigation not just alarming, but highly objectionable. What are you doing?
Must be Detective White.
I don't have words to explain to you how much I love this scene. Like, Scully is just so fired up and she is so done with Mulder's shit, and he's just trying to like sniff her. Literally Scully's face when he says that it's Detective White.
If that's the reason we're sticking around, that's your business.
What? What are you talking about?
Detective White.
It's everything. She's just betrayed, pissed, and jealous.
While you two seem to have a certain simpatico, I'm going back to Washington in the morning.
Like, I don't enjoy Scully's pain. It is pretty shady and fucked up that the writers can't seem to let Scully handle another woman on the scene. Like, I think that that's like a little messed up. But when I preach about jealous Scully, it's just because I think that this is one of the only ways the writers really address her feelings for Mulder for a really long time. I mean, they barely ever do anyway. Like, they have a fucking child together and they barely do. So that's just why I live for jealous Scully, because it's just and plus Gillian plays this like pissedness like just so well, and I love it. Anyway, then it's Terry and Margie's birthday. These girls are psychos. Like, all the other girls at the party are looking at them like they're actually insane. Then some of the other girls start like screwing around with a Ouija board. Never do that. And this girl gets pissed because you should never do that, and like goes into the bathroom where Terry and Margie are like holding hands and like chanting about Bloody Mary in the bathroom. There's all these like lit candles and they're in the dark. It's scary. And then they like force her to stay in there. You in danger, girl. Meanwhile, back at the motel, Mulder's like mixing together some cocktail of like vodka and condensed orange juice or something.
Detective White could use our help. He's just trying to solve this case.
Detective White comes over and she's all upset because her cat's like probably dead. And Mulder like tries to comfort her, but very quickly we realize that this is a situation that's about to unfold, and this bitch ends up straddling him and like going after his face, and then Scully like barges in.
There's been another death.
This is straight up fan fiction right here. Like, this scene is fanfic. They all just like get their shit together and they leave to go to the scene, and there is just the most iconic Mulder and Scully exchange about who's gonna drive.
Drive.
I'm driving.
Scully, it's not what you think.
I didn't see anything anyway.
Will you let me drive?
I'm driving. Why do you always have to drive? Because you're the guy? Because you're the big macho man?
No. I was just never sure your little feet could reach the pedals.
This episode is full of gems. So Mulder ends up going back to the astrologist, and she ends up spewing a bunch of stuff about like the planets and how they're ruining everybody's lives. And this pretty much confirms why Terry and Margie are acting so weird, because it's their birthday and they've got the weight of the planets bearing down on them. I don't know. They've like lost their minds, and they both try to like pounce on this dude, end up fighting over him. He ends up dying, and very quickly they turn on each other. They're like, "It was you." She's like, "It was you." Both of them go to Mulder and Scully separately. Scully's like, "I know who did it." And Mulder's like, "I know who did it."
I've got your suspect and you've got mine. Why does that make sense to me at this point?
Look, Scully, I don't think this has anything to do with any cult. I want to get them both in and get a formal statement.
Sure, fine, whatever.
So they bring the girls in for questioning, and like when they see each other, like shit just starts going crazy. Things are flying everywhere, like the lights are off, their guns start going off, shooting, someone's gonna die, and Mulder like grabs one of them and like drags them down the hallway and shoves her in a closet. It's like, okay, like I'm not sure how appropriate that is, but if it works, it works. And then the other girl is like following after them. He shoves her in there too. Literally, I guess the clock strikes midnight and day is over, and the planets are suddenly not angry anymore, and these girls are just like cowering in the corner. So pretty much the planets made everybody in this town lose their damn mind, and that's partially like why Mulder was drinking and why like Detective White like threw herself at him, and you know Scully's like chain smoking cigarettes, muttering about Detective White being like overly jealous, even though she was pretty jealous in the last episode too. So it's not like the planet suddenly just made her a jealous bitch. Like, she was already kind of a jealous bitch. Anyway, so then as they're leaving, Scully runs a stop sign.
Scully, you're gonna want to... You just ran a stop sign back there, Scully.
Shut up, Mulder.
Iconic. Anyway, so that's SYZYGY. Thanks so much for watching. Go check out some of my other videos. Subscribe to my channel. I'll be back next week with a new vlog. Watch out for it.